I am so excited. I went with this right away. I mean, this just happened. Pam Bondi, our new Attorney General, has filed charges against Letitia James, Kathy Hochul, and also the guy who heads up the DMV in New York. Mark Schroeder is his name. Also the state of New York. Folks, this is huge, okay? And the whole case is built on the fact that New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens, and the fact that they're not cooperating with ICE. These sanctuary states, sanctuary laws, folks, are completely contrary to federal law. And this is actually an area of law that the feds oversee. So this is why, I'll just give you a for instance on this. This is why I diverge from Trump on this whole thing about, states deciding abortion. I don't agree with that. I believe we need a federal law because murder itself needs to be a federal, it's a federal crime, okay? And just like abortion should be, because to me it's of the same. But this right here, who gets to oversee the border? Who gets to determine immigration law, folks? Is it states? Do states get to do that? No, because it affects the nation as a whole. That's why immigration law is federal law. That's why a state like New York or a city like New York can't usurp federal authority. So now Pam Bondi has gone in there and filed charges against them. This is going to, I guarantee you, because of just how bad and how whack the judiciary has been of late, and you've all seen it, okay? We could go over multiple judges. I did that earlier today on a stream. We talked about it on another video. But I mean, we're talking about judges like the daughter is higher up in the Department of Education. The other one, the wife, works for the foundation that receives money from USAID, and so on, okay? So I don't expect a positive ruling initially out of these judges. That's why it has to go to the Supreme Court. And that's what's going to end up happening here. But I believe we are going to see something take place. Now, when you look at this, okay, so Pam Bondi, a lot of people had questions about her at the beginning. And I don't know that Pam Bondi will be any good and all this. And here she is filing charges against Tish James. Can you think of, just think back to the lawfare on President Trump and think about Letitia James. Oh my gosh. She was the worst. Do you remember her out in the streets, too male, too pale, too stale? We're going to go after Trump. She built her whole case, her whole election, off of going after Donald Trump. So she was obviously completely, she had to recuse herself. She had complete impartial bias to the man, and they looked for the crime. They didn't look, so they're looking at a person and trying to find a crime instead of looking at a crime and then trying to find the person. That's what they did with Donald Trump, and you guys all know that. We went through that, but this is really huge, folks. I just hope you understand. We're talking Hochul, James, and what was the other dude's name? Again, he's like the DMV guy out there. His name is Mark Schroeder. In fact, here, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to just share with you a video, the press conference, just a clip from the press conference. I'm just going to hold up the computer for you. Okay.
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. We're here today because
it stops today, man. That's it, folks. I just wanted to get that out. That's huge news. We finally have an attorney general who's going to stand up for the rule of law, not political persecutions and prosecutions. That's not what this is about. The left is going to be screaming about that today. Do me a favor, smash that like so this news gets out. But and chat in with where you're from. But this is a new day. This is not about that. This is about actually following the law. not just going after a president because you disagree with what he has to say politically, with his priorities politically. These are people who actually broke federal immigration law, okay, by being a quote unquote sanctuary. I'm telling you, the same thing's going to happen in California, Gavin Newsom. The country this is wild, folks. What you are going to witness in the next few years is absolutely wild. I mean, you are going to see the dismantling of the government in a way in which you never thought possible. In fact, I wasn't going to do this. I'm going to do it. You're on here. There's 1,110 of you on here. Okay. We've covered it, folks. If you, Pam Bondi has filed charges. I'm going to read to you the greatest thing. It's called Override, and it's by this guy Eco. And I've told you, you guys need to follow this person on X. But they actually wrote this article. It's probably a week ago, 7 days ago. It was published on February 5th. This is the greatest reading of hope you are going to get. So stick with me through this. I'll get through it as quick as I can. It's called Override. Again, it's Eco Loves You, EKO Loves You on X, or Eco Loves You on Substack as well. The clock struck 2 a.m. on January 21st, 2025. In Treasury's basement, fluorescent lights hummed above 4 young coders. Their screens cast blue light across government-issued desks, illuminating energy cans and agency badges. As their algorithms crawled through decades of payment data, one number kept growing: $17 billion in redundant programs and counting. We're in, Akash Boba messaged the team, all of it. Edward Korstein's code had already mapped 3 subsystems. Luke Ferreter's algorithms were tracing payment flows across agencies. Ethan Chertron's analysis revealed patterns that career officials didn't even know existed. By dawn, they would understand more about Treasury's operations than people who had worked there for decades. This wasn't a hack. This wasn't a breach. This was authorized disruption. While career bureaucrats prepared orientation packets and welcome memos, Doge's team was already deep inside the payment systems. No committees, no approvals, no red tape, just 4 coders with unprecedented access and algorithms ready to run. The beautiful thing about payment systems, noted a transition official watching the screens, is they don't lie. You can spin policy all day long, but money leaves a trail. That trail led to staggering discoveries. Programs marked as independent revealed coordinated funding streams. They're going to find this going at the state level too, people. I want you to know that this is all going to reveal everything. The money trail, remember, follow the money. I've always said that. It's going to reveal everything. This is where the NGOs were collecting money for shuttling illegals across our border, buying plane tickets, funding $600 Visa cards, on and on, the $50 million hotel, all of it, okay? Grants labeled as humanitarian aid showed curious detours through complex networks. Black budgets, once shrouded in secrecy, began to unravel under algorithmic scrutiny. By 6 a.m., Treasury's career officials began arriving for work. They found systems they thought impenetrable already mapped. Networks they believed hidden already exposed. Power structures built over decades revealed in hours. Their traditional defenses, slow-walking decisions, leaking damaging stories, stonewalling requests, proved useless against an opponent moving faster than their systems could react. By the time they drafted their first memo objecting to this breach, 3 more systems had already been mapped. That's why the fight that they have now that they're taking, they're like, oh no, we can't have Elon in there knowing your social security numbers, all this different stuff, and the judge's orders. It doesn't matter. We've already gotten in the systems. The fraud has already been outed, and it's only going to get more, and the American public's going to get pissed. Pull this thread, a senior official warned, watching patterns emerge across Doge's screens, and the whole sweater unravels. He wasn't wrong, but he misunderstood something crucial. That was exactly the point. This wasn't just another transition. This wasn't just another reform effort. This was the start of something unprecedented, a revolution powered by preparation, presidential will, and technological precision. The storm had arrived, and Treasury was just the beginning. The foundation. Personnel is policy. For decades, this principle, articulated by conservative strategist Troop Hemingway, remained more theory than practice. Previous administrations spent months, even years, trying to staff key positions. Trump's first term saw barely 100 political appointees confirmed by February of 2017. Every delay meant another victory for the permanent bureaucracy. But this time, it was different. While media focused on campaign rallies and political theater, a quiet army was being assembled. In offices across DC, veteran strategists mapped the administrative state's pressure points. Think tanks developed action plans for every agency. Policy institutes trained rapid deployment teams. Former appointees shared battlefield intelligence from previous administration's failures. Folks, you know what's so great about this? When I was out there for the inauguration in Washington, D.C., I was able to meet a lot of people. I met Javier Milei, from Argentina. I met Carrie Lake was out there. Just a bunch of people that you would know. Okay, one of the things that I discovered in talking with those people and being in some of those situations, there is a whole plan mapped out for a lot of things that you haven't even seen yet. I mean, it's gonna get wild. Okay, by inauguration day, over 1,000 pre-vetted personnel stood ready, each armed with clear objectives, mapped legal authorities. Do you get that? By inauguration day, over 1,000 pre-vetted personnel stood ready. That's why they're hitting them so hard, so fast. They feel like they're surrounded and they can't do anything about it. This is so great. Okay? Each armed with clear objectives, mapped legal authorities, and direct lines to support networks. This wasn't just staffing. It was a battle plan decades in the making. This is the new normal, Vice President J.D. Vance declared from his West Wing office, studying real-time data flows across agency systems. He's having the time of his life, he added, referring to the president's relentless drive. We've done more in 2 weeks than others did in years. The secret wasn't just speed, it was precision. Instead of waiting for Senate confirmations, the transition team prioritized non-Senate confirmed positions. This is why Trump hasn't been freaking out. I mean, I don't think people understand just how well planned this was, okay? They don't understand just how much thought went into this. That time spent over at Mar-a-Lago, that time in the abyss for Trump as he fought against the deep state night and day through legal action. That time away prepped all of this. This is why we now have Pam Bondi immediately launching charges against Tish James, against Kathy Hochul, against the state of New York, and so on. Because everybody was prepped for this. That's why there was such a tight lid on the transition team. That's why they didn't talk to the media. I mean, they were planning all of this and nothing was going to leak. I mean, it was wild, okay? If you guys remember that, there were stories before the election and the press was so frustrated because they couldn't get the leaks that they had before. Do me a favor, smash that like button if you would. Because, folks, I'm telling you, if you don't have hope right now, I said something the other day and I got to correct myself. I was talking, I did this whole thing on X and then I said, but Trump, meaning that everything they had missed was Trump himself. But actually what they missed, it's but God, because nobody but God could have orchestrated what had happened, our 4 years in the wasteland, and then coming back with Trump more educated than he had ever been before. Well, all of us were crying, going, my gosh, why can't people see what happened in 2020? Why are we having to put up with the Biden regime? Look at all the damage he's doing. All that damage needed to be done to not only open our eyes, to open Trump's eyes. I mean, you look at his first picks, they weren't always the best people. And now he is so educated, man. This is wild, all right? League authorities, man, we don't have a lot of time, the president reminded his team daily. 4 years is a lot of time in political life, but it's not a long time in real life. This urgency drove innovation. When DOJ's young coders breached Treasury Department's payment systems, pre-positioned legal teams neutralized resistance within hours. When career officials tried revoking system access, they discovered DOJ's authority came from levels they couldn't challenge. When leaks surfaced, rapid response units fed counter narratives to alternative media almost instantly. Okay? That's why it's so important to have alternative media, people, because the mainstream media isn't doing this stuff. When you look at the people surrounding the president, Vance noted, we're trying to make it sort of easy for him to do what he wants to do in government. When you have the entire team firing on all cylinders, you can get a lot done. The permanent bureaucracy never saw it coming. They were prepared for resistance. They were ready for protests. They had plans for leaks and legal challenges, but they had no defense against an opponent who had spent years preparing for this moment. This wasn't just about filling seats. It was about building a machine designed to transform American governance. Every position mattered. Every appointment carried weight. And behind it all stood a president counting down not years or months, but weeks and days, driving his team forward with relentless energy. Praise God for Donald Trump. The foundation was set and the revolution was just beginning. USAID fell next. No midnight raids this time, no secret algorithms, just a simple memo on agency letterhead pursuant to executive authority. Career officials panicked, and for good reason. Created by executive order in 1961, wasn't ratified by Congress until 1998. Okay. There was no congressional approval needed. Okay. No court challenges possible. Okay. Pull this thread, a senior official warned, watching Doge's algorithms crawl through USAID's databases, and a lot of sweaters start unraveling. And we've seen that. And this is why you are seeing such a pronounced, but the problem is they can't even get anybody to show up at the protest. You guys saw, if you watched my earlier video today, okay, they're singing, "Which side are you on? Which side are you on?" They can't even sing well, okay? They're singing terribly, squeaking voice and everything, and nobody's showing up to their protest, people. When they get a few hundred people there, they can't get the tens of thousands they need. Apparently, Soros has even run out of money. Oh, this thing is so beautiful. Gosh. Anyways, the resistance was immediate and telling. Career officials, okay, Oh, here it is. But their traditional defenses crumbled against Doge's new playbook. Oh, here. Former USAID officials flooded media outlets with warnings about institutional knowledge loss and diplomatic catastrophe. And did you guys just all freak out? I mean, let me ask you a question. I'm going to get right back to this, but seriously, how many of you are completely in favor, not just of restructuring USAID, but completely eliminating it? If you are, just say yes in the chat. I want it gone, completely gone. And do me a favor while you're chatting that in, smash that like for me. But I want it gone. USAID can fall. So yes, I am all for not just reorganization, but the complete dismantling of USAID. But their traditional defenses crumbled against Doge's new playbook. While bureaucrats drafted memos about proper procedures, the young coders were already mapping payment flows. While senators scheduled hearings, pre-positioned personnel were implementing new transparency protocols. While media allies prepared hit pieces, Doge's algorithms exposed decades of questionable transactions. By the way, Trump's going to have another meeting at the White House tomorrow, exposing a whole other tranche, we'll use their word, of illegal, redundant, and disgusting payments, folks. This is so wild. The scale was breathtaking. EPA climate initiatives, not just mapped, found unauthorized programs in 47 states. Education's DEI maze, not just exposed, revealed coordination across 1,200 programs. Intelligence community black budgets, not just traced, uncovered patterns hidden for 30 years. So this is what they're going to go to court armed with, people. The administrative state runs on two things, a senior advisor explained, watching patterns emerge across Doge's screens: control of information and money flows. His eyes track new connections forming in real time. We're not just exposing their networks, we're rewriting their DNA. The cracks began showing in unexpected places. A career EPA director, tears streaming, "Everything we built." A USAID veteran, hands shaking, "They're inside of it all." A Treasury lifer closing his office, "They move faster than we can think." No kidding. Across Washington, officials who had weathered every reform since Reagan began quietly updating LinkedIn profiles. A deputy director opened opportunities. An agency chief exploring new challenges. A bureau head, time for a change. Doge's algorithms weren't just programs, they were archaeology tools, excavating decades of buried networks. Each data point connected to another. Each discovery revealed new targets. Each pattern exposed larger systems. "It's beautiful," one of the coders whispered, watching connections form across his screen, like watching a galaxy map itself. For the permanent bureaucracy, this wasn't just change, it was an extinction-level event. Their power came from controlling who got paid, when they got paid, and what they got paid for. Now those controls were evaporating like dawn burning away darkness. The pattern was devastating in its simplicity. Map the money flows, deploy aligned personnel, expose the networks, and restructure the systems. By the time bureaucrats drafted objections to one breach, 3 more had already occurred. The revolution wasn't just spreading, it was accelerating. The first bulldozer arrived in Springfield, Ohio. This is the impact of it, folks. Listen to this. I don't know if, we've focused on all the fraud we've uncovered, but listen to the real world impact. The first bulldozers arrived in Springfield, Ohio at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. By noon, 3 blocks of notorious potholes were filled. Local news crews arrived not to find not just construction crews, but data analysts with laptops mapping every dollar spent against real-time progress. This wasn't just road repair. This was revolution in action. A woman grabbed the analyst's arm, tears in her eyes. 12 years, she whispered. 12 years I've been calling about these potholes. He turned his laptop, showing real-time data flows. Look, he said, your tax dollars actually working. She stared at the screen. My God, she whispered. It's really happening. Folks, you know what the left is saying right now? Oh my, it's really happening. They are not prepared for this. Across America, funds once lost in administrative mazes suddenly found their way to actual problems needing solutions. In rural Tennessee, broadband expansions projects, long buried under bureaucratic red tape, broke ground overnight. In Michigan, water treatment plants received upgrades that bureaucrats had studied for decades but never approved. The transformation was measurable. In just 2 weeks, tens of thousands of redundant programs were identified, billions in waste exposed, hundreds of unauthorized initiatives halted, countless local projects unleashed. You're going to see it getting better in your local area. Federal dollars actually being spent on the real work, not more studies. But the real metric, trust in government rising for the first time in 50 years. Folks, see, this is the thing. So America, by actual survey, 70-30. 70-30 is that believes Trump is doing what he campaigned on. He is fulfilling his promises, and he is. And that's why trust in government is rising. The revolution spread with surgical precision. Real-time tracking replaced quarterly reports. Algorithmic oversight replaced review boards. Local solutions replaced federal mandates. And results replaced process. The bureaucracy thrives on process, folks, not results. Do me a favor again, a bunch more of you on. Smash that like if you would. Chat in with where you're from. He's done more in 2 weeks than Biden did in 4 years, and Obama did in 8, Vance noted from his West Wing office. But this isn't just about speed. This isn't just about tech. This isn't just about personnel. It's all three perfectly aligned. Speed, tech, and personnel. For ordinary Americans, the impact was undeniable. Roads repaired, schools revitalized, water purified. But more importantly, something else was being restored. Trust. For the first time in generations, people saw their government not as an obstacle, but as a tool for positive change. The permanent bureaucracy had long operated on a simple assumption. Presidents come and go, but they remain. That assumption now lay shattered, replaced by a new reality. When preparation meets presidential determination, nothing is permanent. They thought we'd slow down, Vance said, studying real-time data flows across agencies. They thought we'd get bogged down in process. They thought we'd play by their rules. He smiled. Instead, we're just getting started. Folks, the best is truly yet to come. The new dawn. The sun rises early in Washington. On this morning, its first rays caught the classical columns of the Treasury building, casting long shadows across streets still quiet. But inside, beneath the marble and granite, screens still glowed blue. Doge's algorithms never sleep. The administrative state was built over decades, a senior advisor explained, watching new patterns emerge across the displays. Built to resist change, built to outlast presidents, and built to preserve power. He paused, tracking a particularly interesting data flow. But they never imagined this. They built walls against political attacks, defenses against media exposure, shields against congressional oversight. They never prepared for algorithms that could map everything, for personnel pre-positioned everywhere, for a president who counts every week like it's his last. The numbers tell the story. In Treasury, networks mapped, waste exposed, systems rewired at USAID. Decades of hidden flows revealed, power structures dismantled across agencies, redundancies eliminated, authorities realigned, missions refocused. But numbers aren't the whole story. Imagine changes coming to a community near you. Folks, do me a quick favor. Smash that like, chat in with where you're from. And if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Okay? We talked about the potholes in Springfield, Ohio. 12 years fixed overnight. Rural Tennessee, where children can finally connect to high-speed internet their parents were promised decades ago. In Michigan, people truly can drink clean water. Remember Flint, Michigan? While bureaucrats' memos about studying the problem, they gather dust. This isn't just reform, folks. This isn't just change. This is American governance reimagined. The pace is going to be the same, Vice President Vance declared this week. It's just the priorities that are going to change, and you're seeing that right now. Okay, so first, this is all done. The reason they went to Treasury right off the gates and then USAID is because they could out so many different programs through USAID that Americans would be opposed to. They go to Treasury because that maps all the payment flows, okay? The permanent bureaucracy built their administrative state over decades, brick by bureaucratic brick. They thought it would last forever. They thought it was too big to map, too complex to understand, too entrenched to change. But they were wrong. 4 young coders with laptops proved that. 1,000 pre-positioned personnel proved that. A president counting weeks proved that. The sun continues rising over Washington. Classical columns still cast their shadows. But inside those buildings, everything has changed. The administrative state finally met its match. Preparation plus presidential will plus technological precision. This isn't the end of the story, folks. This is just the beginning. The revolution isn't just continuing, it's becoming the new normal. And for those who thought that deep state would rule forever, I saw so many of those comments on this channel, you lovely people, who gave up and said, you know, the World Economic Forum, the deep state, the one world, they've got us by the balls. We're never going to win. We can't ever win an election. You need to understand that the movement that started November of 2020, okay, to rewrite this country started with election integrity and it flowed out to everything else, okay? It dealt with mandates, it dealt with government inefficiency, it dealt with the military, it dealt with woke, it dealt with DEI, and everybody's playing a specific role. And I'm not even talking just within the White House and the executive branches of the government, folks. I am talking about on here, on YouTube, on X, so on. There's a guy by the name of Robbie Starbuck outing DEI policies all the time. There's this guy, Eco, who writes beautifully these pieces that will inspire you about the change and the accelerated pace that's coming. There's Elon Musk and these coders who were all prepared and positioned to go in there and utilize artificial intelligence and map algorithms to out all this fraud. So now when Pam Bondi goes to sue the state of New York, they have actual hard numbers to go there with. I'm so happy with all of you people who didn't give up the fight, okay? I just love it. You know, and if you did and you thought it was impossible, now you're seeing it's possible, so get in on it, all right? They're about to learn what happens when smart strategic minds meet determination, when preparation meets opportunity, when a new generation decides it's time for change. The storm isn't just gathering, folks. It's here to stay. The sun continues rising over Washington, but now, for the first time in generation, it illuminates something new. A government that works, a bureaucracy that serves, a system that delivers. The revolution isn't just beginning, folks. It's already won. Oh, I'm so excited, man. Pam Bondi, we've got a new Department of Justice. No more Merrick Garland. You guys will remember Merrick Garland. Oh my gosh. It seems like a lifetime ago because so much has happened in a few short weeks with the Trump presidency. Merrick Garland, who didn't see a J6er, he didn't want to throw him behind bars for 20 years. Merrick Garland, who couldn't fight. I covered it earlier today, folks. We now have information that they were colluding with the Biden White House on the Mar-a-Lago documents raid. We've got it all dating all the way back to June, you know, when it was supposed to have started in February. We're talking 8 months of work behind the scenes. And they thought they'd have this all figured out. They're using old systems. We have, folks, I'm telling you. I mean, I don't agree with Elon Musk on everything, but what that guy has brought to the table to assist President Trump, and don't ever kid yourself, when you see the pressers, where's Elon Musk and where's President Trump? Trump's behind the Resolute desk. Trump can sit there and kind of run covers with Elon Musk in front of the Resolute, or behind the Resolute desk, but that's not how it works. There is one man in charge of that executive branch, and you know who that is. It's Donald J. Trump. Okay, he's not ceding power to Elon Musk or anybody else. Okay. And, you know, but we are so glad he's on the team, okay? So, folks, again, go check out my sponsor, as always, mypillow.com. Use promo code Lumberjack. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're new, and just drop a comment on your way out. Thanks so much for listening, folks. You're the best. Peace out.